The season is past the halfway mark, and I thought it was time to get some of my old hot tub mates over to kick off the cootie boots, get naked and have a good time. So, a few people I've had in before. So welcome from the Bears captain, MWP, or Mwoops, how are you?
I'm great, thanks. How are you, Trevor?
I'm going all right. And from the Hawks, Paul Pleasure, Porps, how are you?
Very well, thanks, Turbo. Thanks for inviting me.
It wouldn't be a party without you.
And
the Bombers, who's just telling us about his shaving program, which, looking at it, you're a bit rough there. You need to put a bloody blade in your razor. The Bombers captain, Antonio Bluevein. How are you, mate?
Turbo, ladies.
I tell you what, getting you three in this tub has been like herding cats.
Bad, huh?
Oh, how long have we been trying to get this tub act going?
I'm not the one who's failed. Anyway, just putting it out there.
We'll blame you, Porps. But,
Sorry. We're here now. That's what matters. You know?
Right.
Yeah, and all four of us in the same place.
Yeah. Now, I got to apologise to you because last time we tubbed together, I got socially excited with you and I was going on about Metal Crusher bailing out on the Bears. So I did get a bit carried away with myself. He didn't leave this season, which I actually declared he would. So MWPP, I'm apologising for going too early.
Apology accepted.
You know, and for 245 kilos of love musty to admit he went too early, it's not easy, you know.
Doesn't happen.
So, is he going to go next year, the next season?
He's actually not even in the league at the moment. He's outback. He's in the outback. He's having a family trip.
Do you expect him to stay though next season?
I do, yeah.
Well, I'm not going to say he's not. I'm not saying anything about it. I got to tell you. Although I would suspect there was something going on. I just think I think he probably did the right thing. So anyway, we'll go on. So let's look at the clubs. I don't want to look at the Furies too much because we're obviously a bunch of rabble this season. The bloody Sims shafting the hell out of us. But how are the other clubs going? Like we'll start with the Bears. How are the Bears going?
On field, I wouldn't say we're actually doing that much better. Our season's still alive.
Actually, you're second last, aren't you?
Our season's still alive, pretty much. Like our season's still alive after a comeback close win against the Warriors on the weekend. But
would you have to win every game?
Barely alive. Yeah, we'd have to win every game, or maybe we could afford to lose one.
Yeah.
And that's despite several quite brilliant individual performances and consistent performances. Like, there have been things that have gone right. Moose is dominating in the ruck, and our engine room's benefited all season. I think actually look at the stats. Yeah. Our midfield is right up there. Also, our defence is doing pretty well. Like, I think my stats are actually better than last season's, and our Vandalace is up there too. Really, the issue is that we're too inconsistent. There's too much of a gap between our best and our worst form.
Righto, so you're killing with the mid, you're killing the ruck, because I've got to admit, Muddy's he's excelled in there. But, I mean, what is he? He's 380 kilos or something, isn't he? He's a big bastard.
He is, and he's also got the extra height with the antlers. So how can you compete with that?
Yeah, I know, I had problems with him when I got up against him, but I like him. He has a beer after a game. He's a fun moose. Got to admit that. He's a good moose. So you're the bottom of the ladder, and then you've got the Hawks who are in the bottom of the ladder too. You guys aren't in the top yet, are you, Porps?
No, we're just outside the 8. We actually won our last 3 games, so we're on a bit of a roll. But you know, I don't trust the sim. I never have. Yeah. So I'm not expecting, any miracles here.
Yeah, I'd say by this stage you sort of get an idea of where you're at, eh? So
well, yeah, like, you know, we'd probably, if we did make the 8, no doubt, you know, we'd be out in the first round of finals. So yeah.
Well, we got one person, the Bombers. Now you guys got shafted a few seasons in a row by the sim, but you're finally getting some wins up. So what do you put that change to, Vane?
It was, I'm pretty sure it was just the captaincy change. I think the sim recognised.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, well, what else could it be? It couldn't be anything else. It has to be that. I don't even know where we are on the ladder. So
you're around about 6, I think, from memory.
Yep, that's about right.
Yeah, so you're doing right.
Yeah, I thought that's exactly where we were.
Yeah.
I don't think I've looked at. I haven't looked at that ladder statistic thread. I don't think once this season.
So you've lost your last 3 games, and one
Did
of
we
those
really?
games was to us. Yeah, we beat you. That was very.
Oh, really?
I was happy day.
Wow.
Well, I think losing your last 3 games and still being around 6 is good because you know you're going to get a run of wins now.
Are we?
Yeah.
So that means if we make finals, I'll have to post more team sheets. So that's not a good thing. Do you know what I mean?
Tell me about it. Jeez, I've already lost a few weeks because of team sheets. Bloody
Yeah, well.
bastards. So now, have a look at the clubs. What's not going well with your clubs? We'll start with you, MWPP. What's not going well with the Bears?
I touched on it before, but it's the inconsistency, too much of a gap between our best and our worst, and that's why we're sitting on 5 wins and 8 losses. Other things aren't going so well. Well, I'd say like our newer recruits just haven't fired, but I don't think that's specific to us. That's competition-wide to the point where there really aren't too many EKA contenders this year.
But the Bombers have got one. The Bombers have got a really good one, actually. The Furies have got one too.
Yeah, Greeny Shoots is killing it.
He's been really good.
Yeah, I got to say, from our point of view, Greeny Shoots has just absolutely taken on the whole fantasy stuff. You've seen his media. I mean, for a person who's just been in 5 minutes, he's really nailing the media and his graphics. Like, I love my pictures. Obviously, I do a lot of it, and I watch the stuff he does, and I reckon give him a couple of seasons under his belt when he knows everybody, he's going to be a killer. So, who are you? Who's good at the Bombers right now?
Jabba 73 has been pretty good. He's been a good pickup. Another one of my fantastic recruits. Rob R and Blue All Through have been good. Blue All Through obviously hasn't. He's probably missed more games through suspension than he's played. So, but that's.
Yeah, what's been going on with the Bombers? You blokes have been like you've been getting in a bit of trouble. Like Santos, is he coming back in?
You have to ask him.
I'm asking you. You're his captain.
Yeah, well, he might, maybe, but probably not. I wouldn't think.
Don't reckon?
No, probably not.
Come on, you got to bring Santos back. Well, yeah, such a.
That's not up to me. That's up to Kim Jong Disaster and his band of merry men.
Oh, they got Josh Woodenspoon back after bloody posting gay porn. I mean, we know there's some flex there.
Yeah, and Haro's coming back next year as well, isn't he?
Yeah, there you go. So
yeah, odd.
Yeah, all right.
Apparently, I don't. Yeah, I mean,
now
whoever wants to. What happened?
So you brought in a few rookies. Here comes Juddy and Judd Magic. So are they all the same person?
Pretty much, yeah. They're all the same. They're all alt accounts of mine.
Yeah, I was going to say, you need to get a bit more original with your name if you're going to start that stuff.
Yeah. They're just accounts that I made over the years just to pad our list out just while we have all these suspensions happening. You know?
Yeah, well, you guys, you probably have the most successful year, even though you're getting all your players kicked off.
That's where we measure our success is, by how many people we have suspended. You should know that.
Yeah. Now, Porps, you guys got and Leanback and Zoops.
Yep.
Who are they?
That's right. Yeah. Well, sorry, I can't even say his name. And Lean Back.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
It makes me think of a song. I don't know. And Lean Back. I don't know.
I know the song you're talking about.
Yeah. But anyway, he's sort of, he's not really around. And, you can't expect every rookie you bring to your club to get really involved. It can be quite overwhelming. Not everyone picks it up. Zoops, on the other hand, he's probably posted more in our team chat than he has in our match threads. So, I don't know. I mean, we do try and get him involved, though. We do tag him a lot and he'll come in and say a little bit, but yeah, I'm not sure whether he'll stay on for next season. I guess that remains to be seen, but you never know.
And have you noticed any difference with Haight coming in your side? Because obviously he's an experienced player from the Furies that come across. Have you enjoyed engaging with him?
Oh, absolutely. I've always liked Haight and what he contributes. He's got that different style of banter. He has a lot of goody stats that he brings, and I love that. that sort of banter. It's different. But he's a lot of media threads that he does are so good. And even Phenom as well. I think both of those, they've filled the gap that Lunati has left since he retired. So I'm pretty pleased with that, those two pickups. Yeah.
And how do you go? You've got two captains. How do you have two captains? Like, how does that work?
Okay, so Chipmunk is planning to take full reign next season, and it's just the transition period between that time. But it works fine. You know, like A93s, he's slowly stepping back, and yeah, Chip will take the reins completely next season. It's just the way we decided to do it, and it seems to be working. No team sheet errors. So.
Oh yeah, bring that up. Like there's any skill in doing team sheets.
Oh well.
Mate, if we can do them, you know, anyone can. I don't think I've had a team sheet error yet, but
haven't you? Oh,
I don't think so.
Do you change your team sheet though?
What do you mean? Do I change it? Yeah, I had to this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to because you keep getting players kicked out.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, Jesus.
Now, what's happening in your team? What's happening with the Jesus? You know, I was happy to see him go to another team. He reported he's going to do some podcasts, and we haven't heard anything from him. What happened?
We're just experiencing some technical difficulties at the moment, Turbo. Actually, yeah, no, it was the same thing as this podcast. We've just struggled to get in sync with each other and get some podcasts happening. So we've both been pretty busy. But it would have been good to do a few, but obviously, we're just not aligning.
All right, all right.
I don't really see him around in general much, though. I think
No.
I think it's just real life. I think it's just, you know.
Yeah, he's pretty much quit the song contest. I haven't really seen him posting in the media either.
Yeah.
And Werps, what about Milky 95? He came back into the league, obviously looking at the expansion, and that didn't happen, but stayed on, and he was sort of not too bad. I know when I was in some of the match threads I was engaged with, I did enjoy it, and it was the first time I'd really got involved with him, and I enjoyed him, but he's been really quiet lately.
I actually don't think he's been quiet at all. Like, he's definitely still around in match threads and in the club. Maybe like quiet in media or quiet against specific teams. That was the case last season too. Like, he's definitely still around. And I think he's grown in his leadership role this year.
Okay, maybe I should just see some of the Bears threads before I say shit like that.
Maybe.
Actually, I'm just looking at the list. I pulled up the list for the Bears, and you're actually getting some fairly good depth there too. I like Tony.
Oh, Tony's brilliant. He's another that's really grown in terms of leadership this season. Like, he's actually been my right-hand man for much of the season, particularly with Crushy being away at the moment.
And what about
Lemon? A lot of time for him.
About Lemon Boy?
It's good to have him back. So he was lost out bush for a good part of a year. It's good to have him back. Like, he'll never be a big-time poster, but I love what he adds with his graphics and his lemon gifts. But to me, the biggest two this year, firstly, I don't care. It's a second year at the club. And particularly in the last few weeks, he's been much more active and just seems to be enjoying his posting again.
And he's an interesting fit for you too, because I've had a few good goes with him, and he's got that dry humour. You know, where's his whiskey? He's not a cuddly bear. He's not a teddy bear. So I was interested to see how he was going to go in the Las Vegas outfit, because there's a lot of glitz and glamour there, and that's not, I don't care. But he settled in.
And of course, Broken. So I spent the entire off season and probably the end of the previous season trying to get Broken over, and he's been the best thing about the season, I think, at least in an off-field sense.
Yeah, it's interesting that, isn't it, what goes on behind just the match thread. Like, I know with the Furies, we do a lot of PM with each other, and we get into, you know, there's a lot of communication between us as well as what's in the match thread. I always think that's a sign of a healthy club, that, you know, you're engaging outside of the match thread. I don't mean don't engage in the match thread, but I mean you engage it. Like, you've got to drive the match thread. but you also have a lot of, fun outside of the thread.
Yeah, absolutely. Like a real team. So,
Yeah.
match thread is sort of like the training. I consider match day the same as match day in real life. And then like your PMs or team threads are like after training drinks.
Bane, you reckon you can post a match thread without getting any mistakes?
Post a match thread or post a team sheet?
That's the difference. Yes, because your match thread posting is not good, is it?
As
I've
in like,
I've heard some issues. There's some issues with it.
as in like,
Yeah.
the match thread OPs.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about them?
Well, didn't you upset a few people about the way you go about posting your match threads?
Of course I did. That is just how I roll. I mean, I was legitimately busy, and I posted the first 5 matches, and then I didn't have time to do the next one.
And who was the next one?
That was actually our match thread. It was the Bombers match thread, which we don't really care whether it goes up on a Monday or if it goes up on a Wednesday. Generally, we generally believe that match threads are probably a tad too long for us. If they go up on a Monday, it's like by the time you get to Thursday, you're like, oh, these dudes, geez, they're boring. You've said everything you really want to say, and it's about, we just find it boring. So I left. I did the first 5 match threads, and I had all intentions of doing the 6th one, and I got busy. And then I asked Kim Jong Disaster to post it for me, and he just wrote lol wonders and assigned me the post. And then a few of the wonders got upset, and then there was a bit of a kerfuffle in committee. A little bit of melting, and then not much happened.
Did you get any punishment from it?
Punishment for what? It was Tuesday.
Weren't you bastardising it though? Wasn't it considered bullying, or there was some shit thrown out about it?
That was
Come
funny.
On. Yeah.
Come on, you can laugh about it. Bullying. Wow. There was actually, we had a bit of a running joke for the whole week because I kept changing the thread title. So it was, Baghdad Bombers versus Worst Coast Wonders or West Coast Wonders or West Coast Wonders or something like that. And then just lol wonders. And then Ed just kept changing it back. But yeah, it was just a bit of fun. I mean, that's why instead of actually writing stuff about Cootie stats, I thought, you know what? I'm just going to post some jokes just to go, mate, remember, this is all for a bit of a laugh. So that's why the match thread OPs were just jokes. So either have a laugh or have a sook. I really don't care.
So was the issue Kadsky?
Who?
Was it Kadsky?
That poster doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, what they
Come on, say his real name.
Morpheus of time?
What? Pretty bad name change, man.
I don't. It's like all right, you go.
Come on.
Now it's like let's talk about worst name changes, because that Kadaski, that's whatever the name is now, is a ridiculous name. That's up there with, remember the Jesus become muscle fungal
Hubby
Manfred Jensen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought Cloud changing to Bless was pretty poor. And from my own team, like Western Stand Warrior, I much prefer Cap, and he knows that.
Yeah.
So.
And I reckon Genghis Tron, Arnie Blind Eye, much better name.
I'm used to it now, but yeah.
I always offer him, I go, mate, I will buy you a premium platinum membership just so you can change your name back to Auntie Blind Eye. I am sick of that, Genghis Khan or whatever it is.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Come on.
I'm not a fan.
Get back to Auntie
One
Blind
of
Eye.
his favourite bands. So that's
probably.
Did he have a username in between Abe and Genghis Khan? I feel like he did.
Yeah, he was Tiger God.
That's
Tiger
right.
God.
Yeah.
So he's had a few, and then you've got Chromosome. She's gone from Chromosome to normally Ava to Lady Godiva. So she's a bit of a name changer, which stuffs you up, because I know, having her in my team, every time I do pick different things, she keeps changing her image and everything, so it really makes it hard to keep up with it.
Yeah. And then there's Bloody that went to Grand Uncle Horace.
think
Oh.
Grand Uncle Horace suits him
I
better.
prefer the name. That's probably a successful
Yeah.
name change.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Like Antonio Bluevein when you used to be Sweet Cheeks.
Sweet cheeks. Who's that?
On your-
I've never changed my name.
Oh,
Always.
mate, you're good at running along with the gag, aren't you?
Okay. Yes, my name was Sweet Cheeks. Can you stop looking at me like I'm a piece of meat? I mean, seriously.
Well, it's hard.
We
to-
are in a hot tub. What do you
Yeah.
expect?
I
Hello,
mean,
you got your
seriously,
shirt
like,
off, mate? Like,
Jesus.
Oh, we had. What about Ned Flanders? He used to be RC Tiger 74.
oh
That's
yeah.
Again, I
definitely-
think that's a success. I
That's
prefer
definitely
Ned.
an upgrade, 100%.
Because when you look at what he does in the Ned Flanders, it does. Whereas RC Tiger 74 didn't really have anything. So
Yeah.
that's a successful name change.
Well, he still doesn't have anything. He lives in a dumpster. So
Oh, that's we're not
you
going
know
to.
what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's why we deal with our guys. What about Testicle? He used to be
Argus Cuffed.
yeah, which I really liked. I thought that was a really good name.
I forgot
So-
about that. Yeah.
But I like Testicle's also not a bad name either though. So that's almost like I liked him as Argus Tough, but I don't mind him as Testicle either. So I'd go with that one.
Of course, you wouldn't mind him as Testicle, you degenerate.
But it's a clever name. He's done well there. I don't never
Yeah.
quite understand when people change your name and you think, what is that about? So we got
He's a
anyone
good
else we
fella.
can think of?
It was Cockafit before he was that.
Washette and Wash.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What did you just say? Cockafit?
Cockafit, you know.
And
It's a good-
Nakia.
It's a
That's
good
it,
name.
Nakia, yeah.
Yeah. Isn't he Jack the Godfather now or something?
Yes, I think. Is he?
There's
Did
been a
Yeah.
few changes
Did
as
Cadaver change his name?
To K-Dava. Back to
Yeah.
K-Dava.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
changed. Yeah, I was thinking just off the top of my head, I'm trying to work out who's changed. Yeah, all right. Decent, good. I'm really happy. I just stuck with. I mean, Tiger Turbulence was the name I put in when Richmond were going through a real turbulent time. So I just had to put a name in there. I didn't actually wasn't thinking of persona. I was just writing a name to get an account. So Tiger Turbulence was the sort of thing, and I misspelt turbulence just so it was different, and I can't spell.
Yeah, just because it was different. Mhm.
It's funny, like
Yep.
I'm like, wait, there's how you spell it? And then I get confused, you know.
Yeah.
So,
But that's why I did it though. But the thing is, I've never been tempted to change it, even though I could change it to something like even change it to turbo or something shorter, because that's what I started with. What about you three? Are you with your original names?
Yeah, I haven't changed mine on Big Footy. I've been MWPP since I joined.
And what made you use that name?
Oh, look, I was after a gender neutral name, but also one that linked to usernames I use on other sites.
Yeah.
And like it plays into obviously the fact that I'm a Harry Potter fan.
Righto. See, I'm not a Harry Potter fan, so it means nothing to me.
Okay, so MWPP's Mooney, Wormtail, Padfoot and Prongs. It's the Marauders from Harry Potter.
Well, I'm still no clearer.
Never mind.
What about you, Porps? How'd you get your name, Porps?
well, so obviously, back in the day when Jason Porplesia was playing for the Crows, he was my favourite player of all time. I loved him, obsessed. And there was an article written about him because there was, I can't remember which season it was. He kicked so many goals without kicking a point. And the article said, if it's goals you want, he'll Porplesia. And I was like, oh, that's so good. And when I joined Big Footy, it was just what I chose, that play on words with his last name. And no, I've never wanted to change it, even though I know some people really hate underscores. Sorry, guys. And I
Very
have
annoying,
sort of,
yeah.
I have sort of thought I could change it to just Porps because that's what a lot of people just default to calling me. But no, I don't know. I like the name and what it stands for, so I've just kept it.
Excellent. And Bluevein, how'd you get your name? Talking about degenerates.
Well, I mean, there you go. Do you really need me to answer, or?
Yeah, I'd like to hear your version of it.
I honestly, it was that long ago. I mean, I've had this account for maybe 12 or so years now. I honestly don't remember.
Was it on a
why
porn
I
site where you initially logged in, or was it?
Yeah, it was 100%. It was. It was. Yeah, HispanicMidgets.com.
Right. I knew the truth would come out.
Yeah.
So do you use your name on here, your username here in other sites?
There's other sites.
Yes, it is. Believe it. But anyway, so I don't use Tiger Turbulence outside of SFA. So any of you use your name outside the SFA?
I use Marauders and Werps, which are kind of similar, and that's why I kept it related but not exactly the same.
I mean, I've got a Twitter account, well, obviously with my real name, but then I made a separate account as Poor Pleasure because we've got a Hawks Twitter, even though it's not really used. And then, of course, on Discord, I use Poor Pleasure just because mainly it's SFA related. But other than that, no, I don't use this name anywhere else. That's probably a good thing.
Your name be good for a Tinder account, wouldn't it?
Oh, could be, but I'm no longer in that space anymore.
Just for you to say that.
Actually, Vain to be all right too. You go Poor Pleasure. Oh, okay, I'll go for that one. Bluevein.
Yeah.
All right.
What's that? Is it, yeah, swipe right? Is that what you do with those things? Is it just
no
swipe
idea.
one way?
Swipe left is reject, and swipe right is yeah, I like you kind of thing. But yeah,
Okay.
it's been a while. I did meet my boyfriend. I met him on Tinder. So.
Did you? And
I did.
What was his Tinder name? Did he have a good Tinder name?
It was just his
Bluevein,
name.
was it?
What, he used he used his real name?
No, it was just because when on Tinder you don't have a username. It's just your first name because usually it's connected. It's connected to Facebook or Instagram usually. So it's just the first name. Yeah.
I don't have FaceStation or InstaWhack or anything like that. So. Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, let's just go on Instagram. I'm just going to post a picture of my legs and a martini and say, oh my God, breakfast is like totally the most important meal of the day. Don't you reckon, guys? Or is it just me?
Just you, mate.
I think to really fit in, you'd have to post like a shirtless selfie from a gym, preferably holding a glass of beer. That would
Oh, geez, the amount of
that would I could actually maybe I should probably make an account now then if that's
wasn't
that's
it
the sort of stuff you can post.
Was it Menangatang that did was it Menangatang that put together
yeah, that's right.
He did a thread on it.
It was brilliant.
That was funny as. But seriously, the amount of selfies that guys take in bathrooms where you can see the toilet. Oh yeah. If I had a nickel for every time I saw that.
Turn on.
Yeah.
The opposite.
It was quite funny.
At least make it the shower if you're going to include a bathroom picture. No one wants to see the toilet.
What about a nice shiny urinal?
Or the hot tub. No,
urinal.
Hot tub.
Or they put a group, like it's a group picture. You have no idea which guy it is and you have to guess. And that was always funny as well.
Guess by scrolling through them.
Yeah, like I reckon it's that guy. Anyway, good times.
Now.
Or just one of their dog and not of them. I've had that as well.
Okay, I'm not sure where we're going. You're really taking this to the barnyard side here now, Werps. I think I've got to steer this back.
I like where this is going.
No, we've got enough hair in this bloody hot tub. We don't need to be introducing the puppies. Now, I've noticed Ace Andy's still posting occasionally in the background.
He's coming to the Bombers.
Oh, is he?
No, there's no way.
But do you think he's waiting? Do you reckon he's waiting for the hot seat to fold so he can come back, or do you reckon he's
no? He's waiting for the Bombers to fold, and that's when he'll come back.
I'd love him to be back, but unfortunately,
so what you're saying is
I don't see him returning.
So you want the Bombers to fold? Is that what you're saying?
He does. No, I asked him. I asked him in a thread openly. I said, mate, come across the Bombers, and you can be our committee sponge or whatever. Because I'm sick to death of being in there, to be honest. All I do is get tags and, mate, another bloke suspended. Mate, another bloke suspended. Hey, how you feeling today, Bluevein? Another bloke suspended. I'm like, oh, man. You know what? Can't I just delegate? I mean, so what you've done with Flanders is perfect. So I just need
absolutely.
I just need like an Ace Andy or something to go and take the heat. and I can just, kick back in the hot tub. No,
So
man.
are you going to be Are you going to be captain for the Bombers next season?
Well, I don't know.
Ooh, what do you reckon, girls? That sounded hesitation there.
If you go back and look through history of the Bombers, generally most of us hang around for a couple of seasons and go, right, we've served our time. It's time to let someone else have a go. But yeah, we haven't really had any discussions. I think everyone's happy because I've had no team sheet infractions. And
Oh, stop bringing that shit up. Well, like as if a team sheet makes a captain.
it does, mate. I mean, that's literally the only thing a captain has to do. Like, what else do you have to do apart from troll people in the committee? That's pretty much all I do.
Like the awards at the end, I think that's probably the biggest.
It's really convenient.
Too.
Yeah, really convenient of Santos to go and piss off before all of that, because I just used to say, hey, mate, I want to do up a couple of, like graphics and stuff for the best and fairest. Be busy, man. And he would do it all. And now I've got nothing. So now I'm just going to have to, outsource maybe to another club and go, mate, do you want to do all my best and fairest for me? Because I'm just too busy, you know what I mean?
Why not involve some of your second years, like Kilroy or Kick the Thing?
What am I doing?
Involve some of your second year players.
Yeah. I forget their names sometimes.
They both start with a K.
Yeah.
Same. Are they the same person?
Yeah. No, they're not. No, we don't have any old accounts on our list at all.
Okay.
So does that mean you're not going to be captain next season?
Look, I've got the full backing of the board. I plan to be, but we'll see what happens in the next 4 or 5 weeks, I suppose.
Right. What about you, Werps? Are you going to stay in charge of the Bears?
I became captain with the view that I'd probably stay around for 2 to 3 seasons. So I'll be around next season. Beyond that, not sure. See where things go.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think captaincy is like everything else, like your playing list. You can't just maintain it for 20 years. Otherwise, you're staling the club. There's got to be new leaders coming through. You've got to develop. So, yeah, I agree with that.
Exactly. And my thing was more stability. And I think next season we'll have JWS back properly, as well as an extra year into Moose and Tony. So
actually, JWS would be interesting because if you noticed, because I really, like everyone did, he won 5,000 bloody Bees Awards. Yeah, but so I'm really interested to see if he comes back and he can get back to that level of adoration where people really engage with him, or whether it'll be different. Because all I've seen is a lot of players that were really strong players. When they come back, it just doesn't seem to happen again. Because it's the SFA moves on. You miss one season, you've sort of disengaged from a lot of what's going on and all these new players and that. And it makes it a bit harder than when you're actually developing and lifting through.
People of that class do manage it though, because I think each time Broken's returned, he's been great. Like his previous return was, obviously I'm biased about this season, but S27, he was brilliant. And that was a comeback season. That's when he had that Bees competition, the Breaker.
Well, I hope he does, because it's all good for the SFA. I mean, better posters, it makes it more engaging for all of us. So, but I will be interested in that one, because it's just that I've sort of noticing people disappear for a while and come back, and it just doesn't seem the same. Especially because you've got a lot of different new young guys that are, you're engaging with now. You look at now, I reckon the last few seasons we've really nailed it with some of the recruits. So we're really starting to get some, really good fresh players that are stepping up now.
Definitely. I mean, Jabba 73 has been fantastic for us. He's been, not exactly yet. Yeah. He's not your typical sort of. He's not your typical bomber. He's a little bit more cultured, which we welcomed.
Well, I wouldn't have said that. I would have said he fits your mould all right, because he stands his ground. I enjoyed it. I actually thought he had a fair bit of dog in him. He was fighting for. He didn't give away anything. He was certainly, going hard line. So
yeah, he's a good egg.
Yeah, and I enjoyed Rob R.
The robber, yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed him. We had a Friday night where we just sat. I don't know if he was drinking. I certainly was. Doing the music thing. You're doing that Bombers jukebox thing, whatever you do.
Yep. Guaranteed he would have been, for sure. He loves a Guinness, Robber does.
Oh, right. Well, I was enjoying that too. That was good fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to
Oh,
make it inclusive for all walks of life, if you know what I mean. That's not exactly what most Bombers threads start out like, but by the end of the week, everyone's sort of singing Kumbaya in a circle and posting some tunes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Robar's another who's not your typical bomber, to the point
he's
where I was
not.
surprised that he moved. But I think he's the sort of player who'd fit in everywhere.
Definitely. Yeah, he's very likeable.
Yeah.
Now, we were talking about Kedsky before. Now, did you see the thread? Obviously upset by Bluevein's bloody posting of the bloody match thread, and he's bullying. And he's saying that the postings have changed, new media has dropped off, and saying there's no controversies because people aren't accepting it because of all the PC stuff going on, and you know that's all the blight on the league, blah blah blah. And I thought about that because there has been a bit of whinging about that. And what do you people think? Do you think the SFA is just evolving, or do you think we're becoming a PC state and it's not as much fun?
I don't think either. Like this week there's heaps of media. It's probably because of these seasons around the corner. But for what's been a relatively quiet year in the media front, there's all of a sudden heaps of media. So it's an interesting time to be doing this podcast and addressing that particular point. But with regards to the political correctness stuff, well, the rules are always there. I think it's just that people tried to cross the line a few too many times. So that's why like the mods have always been forced to police it a bit more now due to the actions of some.
So you don't support artistic nude pictures?
No.
That are artistic? Artistic?
Yeah, I mean, it's art. Like, duh.
Yeah, you're on board.
100%, man.
What about
Where
you,
are
Porps?
these-
What about you,
where are
Porps?
these
Do you
artists,
support
man?
artistic nude photography?
Of course she does.
Oh, you're in the Tinder. Yeah. All right,
Oh,
that's 3-1.
I don't know. It depends what kind of picture and like how.
Oh yeah, you like
so,
it.
You know.
Yeah.
I do find it funny. The Photoshop. I love it when people Photoshop stuff. It cracks me up. Yeah, there's some really good shoppers out there.
That's pretty much like 97% of my posting. So.
Yeah, I just love it. Like Bonds, puts a cat head on every bloody thing.
Yeah.
Hasn't Bonds kicked up this season?
Oh, and just got married to Docker Den. Like,
Oh, actually, I felt a bit creepy about that.
oh, really?
No, they make a beautiful couple.
I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was really funny.
I'll tell you what, Bonds is going to ruck the hell out of him.
Oh,
that's too much pussy for him.
Oh my God.
What?
Oh,
Mate.
dear.
No, I love Bonds. I've always had it. Bonds and I always do really well together because we've got a similar humour, and we both love doing the picture imagery of each other. So I had fun, but I really noticed this season gone another level. Like I don't know whether is really trying to just really stamp themselves in the club, but
No,
they're really engaged really well.
Probably got a little bit more time, maybe, and I don't know, maybe he was a bit stifled at the Wonders. Who knows?
Yeah, but
Dragons have been good for him. Yeah, I didn't think I'd ever say that the Dragons would be good for a poster, but
yeah, it does seem a bit strange, doesn't it?
No, he's been really good for the Dragons.
I like it.
Going back to the topic, I mean, I think there has been a huge media drop off, compared to last season, and I don't know why. I mean, I don't know whether it's because of people don't feel like they can be controversial or say what they want to say, or if it's just other things happening. Well, I don't know, but I feel like there has been some quality media, especially coming out lately. So I don't know. Is that the trade-off? I don't actually read that much media. I actually prefer to stick to the match thread. But yeah.
Well, from a personal level, then, have all of you enjoyed this season the same? Have you felt it's been a bit more of a haul? Had to work harder this season, or is it just I don't know, same as always? Just I'm engaged the same. So,
look, I probably enjoy it more than parts of last season, but that's not really due to the season, so probably more due to life. But when I think about it, it's probably in between other seasons in terms of activity. Like I feel like 28 and 29 were less active than 30, and then this season's dropped off again from
Yeah.
30.
I feel like there are some clubs that are really not posting as much as they usually would. So we've had some match threads where it's been really boring and a drag, and we're just talking amongst ourselves because the other team's not really engaging. And so, you know, but then other threads have been, you know, really fast paced and you can't keep up. So
Yeah, it's highly opposition and even timing dependent, I think.
yeah. And with footy, you know, well, the fake footy.
Yeah.
All right. There's been a lot of stuff talked about the All SFA. Obviously, you know, there's people like I've been All SFA. Have you people been All SFA? Had the privilege?
Once last season, I was a vice captain.
Vice captain
time.
too. Wow.
That was the first time.
Twice for me.
Twice, yeah. And what about you, Vane? You've been in?
Yeah, I think twice. I think maybe.
I've been in twice too. So we've got a lot of two-timers in here. All right. So what do you think? All SFA selection. We've all been selected. Did we deserve it? Obviously, we all did.
No way.
No, obviously we all did. But what do you think? What do you go for? Do you go for just purely stats? Do you go for contribution to SFA? Do you go for who's the best in a position, e.g., you know, headless, I'm on the bench and I've got the best stats? What do you go for? Combination of all. How do you make it fair? Should you limit numbers to teams? Should it be, you know, 4 from each team? What do you think? What do you think?
Having part of the process last season, I think it does work, like the 50-50 split. And yes, people interpret what posting means differently. But I think the process works, and provided that there's no captain's call from the admin and our consensus team is more or less stuck to, then the process works. Like I think calls for having 2 teams, one for posting and one for stats, are reasonable, but it's just the effort and time involved in that as well. That said, the stats aspect would be quick. And as for whether to consider positions versus cram the best 20 players based on Dream Team regardless of zone versus zone, I like the zone approach, which provides that balance between allowing for the fact that some years there might be no deserving back pockets or forward pockets, whilst other years there might be several. So like just breaking it down into midfielders, forwards, defenders and ruck.
Well, I think you got it there. Rucks. Should just be a whole squad of rucks. Well, that would be deserving.
Not last season.
Hey. Yeah?
Last season, the rucks were the poorest contingent.
Deny your reality.
But obviously this year there's been an overcompensation. So I have noticed that many big namers have joined the ruck this season.
Well, Muddy Moose is right up the top there, so you'd be wanting to push rucks. Come on.
No, this season rucks are right up there, and whoever makes it would be highly deserving. But,
yeah.
And I think, again, that's an overcorrection in response to last season when it was actually the weakest line.
Yeah. What about you two? What about you, Porps? What do you think? Where do you sit?
Yeah, I'm similar to Merp. I think there should be a bit of a balance between, you know, posting and activity. I don't necessarily think they have to have a lot of media. I don't know, like, because you can still be present around match threads and media threads without actually creating your own media. And yeah, that balance between that and like your stats. So like I should be in line to get a nod this season. Just my stats are pretty good right now. Top in handball, 6th in XC, 3rd in disposal. So I'm doing pretty well on the field. And I'm trying my best to get my posting up. I've sort of been a bit average, I think. Yeah, so we'll see. Because there was one season where I got all this SFA and I really don't think I deserved it. Yeah, because my posting levels I don't think they were adequate. So, but yeah, that's that. The decision wasn't made by me, so
you can thank Ant there. But that does link to the point. I'm a purist, so I don't even think that media should factor in at all. I think it should be match posting and stats as far as all SFA is concerned.
So you're saying if somebody got really good DTs but didn't post in their threads, or maybe post once or twice in a thread, they wouldn't make all SFA then? It'd have to be a combination of both.
Yeah, and it has to be, and that's what's been the case the last few seasons. Like, there's been no absolute cutoff, but like if you look at the people who've actually made it and the people who've missed out, like 20 has been sort of the ballpark where like it's deemed to be not enough. There's no absolute number, but it's tended to be around there, 15 to 20, I'd say.
Yeah.
All right, so what about then in the scenario, because obviously as captains, we pick players in position. So you're basically almost giving opportunities to people to get good DTs and that based on the key positions. So if you've got, say, we'll go for the ruck rovers and, followers, they're obviously always going to get fairly good DTs. Now, if you've got, say, a list of 4 followers that are all within, say, 30 or 40 DT of each other, but the one that's 4th is the best poster in match threads, would you give it to them?
Well, that's the thing though, like when you're nominating as captain, when I was involved in it last season, you didn't need at least one from each category. So if you're
still nominated
players,
positions though.
You do, but you don't need one of each. Like if
you can't because you've only
more
got
competitive people.
You only voted 5 times, didn't you? I think, from what I remember, we put in 5 names, wasn't that? Isn't there a cap on
That's
the
right,
number?
but I mean, in other seasons, you've had to nominate at least 1 forward, 1 defender, 1 midfielder.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not.
That's what I mean.
That.
So
I think
that's been removed. And I think that
yeah.
was the right call.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it made so happen that in one season you have a very strong defence, like your halfback flanks, your centre halfback, and your fullback. So it varies by club.
No, I like that, and I think then what it comes down to is how well your LG supports the application. So, like from our side when we do all SFA this year, I'm not going to just pick my 5 favourite players. I'm going to actually look at all of them and see who I think I have an argument for to go in all SFA based on match postings and DT. So yeah, I don't mind that. Any of you think you're going to be all SFA this year?
No chance.
You're out? What position you been playing?
Everywhere. Anywhere.
Right,
don't really care. I just whoever wants to play somewhere, you want to play here, yeah, play there. We don't really pay a whole heap of attention. We've kept I think Jabba 73 in the ruck. Rob's played midfield, and that's all I can really remember. I can't really remember much else.
Yeah, right. What about you, Werps? When you do your team sheet, do you sort of try and keep certain people in key positions so you're running them through the whole season? Or are you like Antonio, you just make it up as you go?
No, so in previous seasons, I'd move myself and move others based on matchups. But this season, so few things have gone right that when people have done well in an individual position, I've kept them there. And then I've moved people who've either requested a move or not done so well and are looking for a change.
Yeah, well, the only time I move players is because I'm being banned and have to fill up holes, or if I've got a player who hasn't posted in a match thread for probably 5 or 6 weeks and they're in a reasonably key position, I'll move them out of it and put someone else in there. So if you see me changing my team sheet, it's generally based on involvement because I like to reward players.
That's usually what we do as well at the Hawks.
Yeah.
That's usually A93. That's his thing. So yeah, if someone suddenly posts a lot, he might put them in a better position, or if they ask, we kind of like to reward players like that. But generally, most people have stayed in the same position most of the season. There's just a few periphery changes, so yeah.
Now, what do you think about, because I've been doing rough team sheets for the last 3 seasons, some successful, some not so, this idea that your name or the numbers of vowels in it, or whether it's got underscores and that, has an effect on a position you play in. So your name, if it was in a position, would score less than if another name was in there potentially. Have you heard this theory? Because I said
no, not at all.
Oh,
because mine gets cut off. Like I'm poor please or something. Not
Well, it's like Elton John Wiggs, for example. He tells me he does well in the centre. So if I've got a person playing centre playing bad, I drop him in there, the stats go up that week. Take him out, stats go down. I put him in as ruck over me because I was always averaging, 80 and above for DT. So I do well in the ruck. Traditionally, I'm a solid ruck. I put him in the ruck. 4 games in a row, he was scoring DTs of like 40 and 28 and never even scored that low in my life. Never seen DTs like that. put him in ruck, we were scoring that. Took him out of the ruck, instant change to, like, I think I got 120 DT.
Oh,
Now,
that is weird.
it is weird. And I actually was thinking, is it just me being really canny with shifting with the sim, like I'm just in sync? But I don't think it is. I reckon certain players will do well in certain parts of the ground and not others. And it's the naming convention. I reckon it's in the formula. What do you think?
That's interesting.
This is the first I've heard of it.
Is it?
Yeah.
There's other people out there, I can guarantee you, that are onto this and are looking at where people play and how they go. And you can, and I reckon you can find that there'll be certain players, if you get a team built around that, you'll end up with a solid team. Because I think there's something in the naming convention. It's not just random. Well,
It's random.
It can't be random. It's got to be based on numbers and things and with letters.
It's
and
a tinfoil hat theory.
no, it's true. I'm telling you, it's true.
The thing is, you have to do more stats though. There's not enough data. You have to collect way more data.
Well, start watching it. You watch a player and you'll get a player who will be great in the back. Like, all right, I'll give you another name because I've been watching my group. The Shadow Man, put him in full back, absolutely nails it. Like the highest DTs of a full back in our team. I took him out of full back and changed him. The full back DT's gone down on average. I guarantee if I put him back in there, they'll go back up again. So Shadow Man, that name, full back, loves it.
So how does this fit in with name changes? So when people change their name, do we notice a change in their stats?
I don't know.
Because that would be
interesting. Yeah. I reckon there's potentially, actually, when we post this, we'll ask the question. If anyone out there's done a name change and reckon there's been a significant change in their performance on field, like the Sim's treating them different. Because I reckon there would be. I'm telling you. You asked, I think it was it Serial Thriller? I was having a talk to Serial Thriller or the Injury Factory, and they were onto it as well. And I think, and I have a feeling the filth is into it too.
I reckon this would be something that A93 and Chipmunk would really be interested in as well. A93 loves his stats, and well, you know, he made that thread about weather impacting, I mean, you know, games, and how we had so many cloudy and muddy days, and so we didn't do very well.
That could backfire though, because last season he tried to use the weather as a way to push your players, but it turned out that when accounting for the weather, other teams were more adversely affected than the Hawks, so it didn't really benefit your team.
You know, it was still interesting.
It is. It's an interesting topic.
All right. Well, Agent 93 and Chipmunk, because stats are for nerds and that's not my game. So have a look at this. You could be breaking the code. I reckon there's something to do with names, and I reckon that is interesting. Someone in the SFA that's changed names has their on-field performance changed with it. I reckon that would be very interesting. All right, well, I just got to say we've got to wrap up now. We've been going ages and I'm getting wrinkly, and when 245 kilos of love muscle gets wrinkly, it's an ugly thing, so we'll call it up. So thanks very much for turning up. It's been an enjoyable night.
Yeah, and thanks all. Have a great weekend.
We'll do.
Thanks for having us.
No problems.
Thanks, Turbo.
See you out there.
Good night.